In today's video, I'm going to talk about how you can delegate better and most importantly, why you need to delegate. Because if you don't delegate, there's no way you can build the life with freedom to do what you want. Otherwise, you're always going to be stuck in your business. I'm Lewis. I own 2 gyms in the UK and I've fully removed myself from the day-to-day operations. And now I'm able to live abroad and live the life I want on my own terms while my gyms grow without me there. My mission is to get 10,000 people signed up to a gym in the next 12 months. And I want you to help me do this. But there's no way we can do this if you're stuck in the business. I need you as a gym owner focused on growing your business and getting more people signed up. So let's get into this. Why is delegation important? Well, I'm going to show you. Back in 2021, this was the revenue of one of my gyms. Now, I was consistently hitting 6K months and I found a way to get a lot more members quickly using ads. And within 2 months, I more than doubled my revenue. It was great. There's lots of positives to that, but that's not what this video is about. What this brought was, yes, extra money, which was great, but a lot of extra clients to serve and a lot of extra work. I was now having to serve more clients and had more to do. And if I didn't have the team I have in place now, I would still be stuck in my physical gym, coaching the classes, doing the cleaning, and running the day-to-day. Before we get into delegation, I just want to show you some of the results I've had with my clients. Mark from Newcastle, in 3 months, signed up 53 new signups and contracted nearly £35,000 in revenue directly through the systems I implement. Paul from Wakefield, in 4 months, and you can check this out in another video on my channel, has fully removed himself from the day-to-day operations. When Paul met me, we started working together and his goal was to be able to train more because he was stuck coaching all the time. And in just 4 months, we signed up more than 60 new members to his CrossFit gym, and he's now able to step away from the day-to-day and actually start having the freedom he wants to train more, spend more time with family, spend more time with friends. So, delegation. What is delegation and why is it important? The business owner who delegates will free up his or her calendar and his time to focus on more important tasks. If we think of your business split into 5 main categories, we would have at the top, sales and marketing, and then at the bottom, delivery and admin. Now, I know what you're thinking. Delivery of service, like the actual coaching, the customer experience, surely that would be higher, right? But it's not. If you want to grow your business and you want to scale and you want to have more freedom and make more money, yes, you need to have a great product. I'm not getting away from that. But you really need to focus on these tasks here to really push sales and generate revenue to put back into the customer experience. If we're not spending most of our time up here as business owners, well then our delivery is actually going to suffer. So delivery would be the coaching, the client service, etc. And the problem is if you don't delegate, you'll always be stuck in delivery. When I started my first gym, for the first year, I was coaching 40 hours a week. I was literally sleeping under the stairs in between sessions at the gym just to get some rest. And of course, this left me no energy to focus on any of this stuff. I was all in on just coaching, but there's a ceiling to that. And the problem is, even if we get more members, you will not be able to handle more members because you're doing everything yourself. So it's about building the team that build the business. When you can delegate tasks correctly and you have a good team in place for you, the benefits are so massive because not only is it freeing your time up, you're also going to make more money and you're going to give a better client experience. It really is a mindset that you need to adopt. And today I want to talk about how you can do it better. So if we imagine your calendar, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, what I want you to do, if you don't have a calendar already, is mark out exactly where you're spending your time. And this would be obviously for every day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I want you to be really specific with this. Every 15 minutes, I want you to map out exactly where you're spending your time. So this might be coaching for half an hour. You might do some cleaning. You might do some reply to messages. You might do some staff coaching. You might do some social media. And you're going to map it out every 15 minutes in terms of what you do. Once we've done this for a full week, we can then go through and highlight, okay, what is the most revenue generating activity? And so this would be stuff like selling a membership or social media in terms of marketing your business. So we could highlight all of these in green and find out where we're spending time that's really revenue generating for the business. The things that are less revenue generating, we can actually highlight in a red color. So stuff like cleaning, any admin, replying to messages, all this stuff we could highlight in a red color. Now, The client delivery, we could highlight in a yellow. So maybe we highlight the coaching in a yellow, and we go through this through every task in your week using a really basic traffic light system. Once we have everything marked out in a traffic light style system, and we can see which is the highest revenue generating activity and which is the least, I also want you to write out next to the task how much you enjoy that thing. So let's say, for example, if you're coaching sessions and that gives you massive satisfaction, then we're going to give that a smiley face. If it's something that's maybe don't mind if you do it, don't mind if you don't, we'll just give it a neutral face. And of course, if there's something that you really dislike doing, like you hate cleaning, then you're going to put a sad face. Now, with this data, we can immediately see which of these things do you enjoy and gives you energy, and which of these things are making you the most money. And the other way around, which of these things are not making you much money, and which things do you not like doing? So immediately, the things to delegate first are the lowest leverage tasks that you dislike doing. Because one, the energy of doing these tasks are going to feel more boring and more annoying because you don't like doing it. And also it's not making you that much money anyways, so you should delegate that first. A common mistake that a lot of business owners make is they'll start employing people outside of the jobs that they're already doing. For example, you might have a coffee machine at the gym, and we've got an extremely busy gym owner, and rather than them delegating the cleaning, they're going to hire a barista to try and drive revenue because they're struggling and they want to make more money. But by doing that, you're only adding more work to your plate. You've now got another person to manage, another system to create, another part of the business that you have to push, whereas you're actually drowning in admin messages and cleaning. So it's really important that we look at your calendar and we delegate from your own tasks first before we start employing outside help. You as the owner, as the CEO, should free up your time first to focus on the higher leverage tasks. And this all comes with building the team that build the business. One thing that I really want you to remember is that if someone can do something 80% as well as you can, that's better than you doing it. 80% done by someone else is 100% better than you doing it yourself. And I know what you're thinking. Well, they can't do it as good as me. They can't even do it 80% as good as me. And I was in this exact mindset. And this is the mindset that kept me stuck. Do you think Jeff Bezos hand packages Amazon parcels? Of course not. He's got an entire team doing that. Do you think Henry Ford, the producer of the Ford car, was physically making these vehicles? Of course not. He had a team helping him. Name any successful business, they have a team helping the founder deliver on the product or service. And as a business owner, as a gym owner, you need to build that exact same team. A lot of people will think, okay, I need a coach first, but actually you're still doing a lot of the admin. We should try to delegate in this order. We should first try and get rid of our admin. Then we should get rid of the delivery of service and the coaching. We should then try and outsource the marketing. Unless you're leveraging your personal brand, then it has to be you. And then you would look at outsourcing the sales, because the sales, if we look at this as like a funnel, if we have a bottleneck in sales, well, then that is going to stop any revenue being generated. We need to get you out of the mindset that no one can do it as good as I can. Only I can do it. If we have this mindset, we will continue to stay stuck. We need to think bigger and trust the process. A big part of setting someone up for success when delegating a task is creating an SOP. Now, a SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedure. This is literally like a recipe which has exact steps for that person to follow. So what I like to do is record myself doing the task, such as, let's say we're delivering a session and we're onboarding a new coach. Well, we have the session recorded so that they can see exactly how to break down the movements, how to break down the whiteboard session, etc. And off the back of that recording, I can give that to my coach and say, hey, go ahead and write me an SOP that you think would work from either shadowing my class or watching the video. Then they can go ahead and write out each one of the points. You can then sit down and review it and make sure that they understand the exact step-by-step process to follow. And then this template can now be reproduced for another staff member that comes in. And this is for the same with all processes in your business. If you've got an SOP or standard operating procedure, you can have someone follow that word for word, line for line. There's no gray area, so they're much more likely to stick to it and hold a higher standard, as opposed to you saying, we'll coach the class and there's not really any standards. The problem a lot of business owners face is that they'll get someone in, not train them properly, and then be annoyed that they're not performing as well as they should be. I think as a leader, it's important that you take ownership of your staff and your staff training, because if they've not got a written manual to follow, in my experience anyway, they'll tend to veer from what you want. So it's super important we have this. If you can learn delegation and trust the process of giving workload from your plate to a team member, you're going to be in a position to focus on high leverage tasks and create more revenue for the business. You're also going to be able to get rid of the tasks that you don't like doing, which give you more energy and more happiness to your job and your life. And you're also going to create a standard operating procedure for every process in your business, which means that every time a new hire comes in, they've got something to follow. And it also makes your business a lot more appealing to someone who is potentially going to buy it. So if you did ever come to a point of selling your gym, well, everything's SOP'd and there's a procedure for everything. So a buyer is much more inclined to pay more. If you implement this, you can be like Paul from Wakefield, who's removed himself from the day-to-day operations in just 4 months. And of course, this happens through getting new members in the door. If you don't have a system to onboard new members or you're struggling to get new members, check out the other videos of our channel where I show exactly how you can get more members signed up to your gym. And if you want me to go through this one-to-one, please book a call using the link below. I'd be happy to help.